You mentioned about an incident between you and Mr. Douglas.
I seen he was pulling out after us, so I quickly went inside. I said, quick, come in. And then I pressed the lift buttons and thought it was really funny because I finally got him back.
歡迎翻到嚟 call 你上嚟傾，咁啊，我阿瞓喺度啦，歐文喺度啦，
Hello.
繼續有我哋嘅冠軍騎師潘頓 Zach Panton here.
Welcome, Zach.
Welcome. So congratulations, because you got your 8th championship. So we always curious about being a champion jockey. Again, broke the record of Mr. Douglas Whyte. This kind of records, what's the meaning to you?
It means a lot, you know. But I can't do it without the support from the owners and the trainers and the opportunities I'm given to ride the horses that I ride. But it means a lot. It means, you know, I've worked hard. When I come to Hong Kong, it wasn't easy to start with, and it's still not easy. You know, every day I've still got to, you know, work really hard. You know, study the track work, study the barrier trial, study the races, talk to the trainers, talk to the owners. You know, work out which are the right horses to ride, and then work out how to ride them, and then race day you've got barriers and track bias and race speeds, and there are a lot of things to contend with, and it's day after day after day, and that's just the racing part of it. And then as well as that, you got the, you know, physically trying to get in shape. So you have your physios and, you know, training, whether it's hiking, running, riding a bike, swimming, personal training, seeing chiros, all that sort of stuff, to try and stay in shape. So, you know, I've got to stay on top of everything, and it's very time consuming. But at the end of the day, when you get to the position that I'm in, and you've had the success that I've had, then it's very satisfying.
So coming up, like any goals you want to reach, or any new records you want to break, like 2,000
wins in Hong Kong.
Actually, it's very in the near future.
Well, every time I break one record, everyone starts to look at the next one.
Yeah.
So I've always got a new challenge. But yeah, it's just a matter of, for me, it's just trying to win as many races as I can. You know, I try and get myself onto a chance to win every race, and then I go out there and I try and win every race, and all that other stuff takes care of itself. So the more races I win, the closer I get to new numbers, records, whatever it is. But yeah, the focus is just trying to win as many races as I can.
So the actual figures doesn't matter at all?
Well, it does matter, but it's not what I'm focused on as such. Like even when I was chasing Douglas Whyte's record, I wasn't really focused on that until they started bringing that bell out and I was ringing the bell. Well, then, you know, I was sort of had to focus on it a little bit more. But before that, I was just trying to win race number 1 and race 2 and race 3, and it's the way I approach it.
That's an interesting question I would like to ask. From a podcast you were in like few months ago, you mentioned about an incident between you and Mr. Douglas. Can you try to share a little bit with us?
Yeah, so quite often when I would come home, or Douglas would see me coming up the lift, up the stairs, and he would be at the lift and he'd see me through the glass doors, or he'd run up the stairs because he'd see me pulling up, and I'd get there and he would have already gone in the lift, and then he would press all the floors. So the lift would obviously take a while to come down, and then it was International Week. We'd been at the gala, and I was riding a Thero at 117 pounds, which was really light for me, of course. And I had a few champagnes, and I seen he was pulling out after us, so I quickly went inside. I said, quick, come in. And then I pressed the lift buttons and thought it was really funny because I finally got him back. But then it was only a couple of weeks later, Steve Rowan actually asked me at track work, he goes, "Oh, you're a little bit too old to be playing those childish school games, aren't you?" And I had no idea what he was talking about. I said, "What do you?" And so he explained it to me, and I said, "No." I said, "Are you sure it's not the kids? Maybe they pressed the buttons in the lift." He goes, "No." He said, "I'm pretty sure it was you." So I got to Happy Valley on the Wednesday night, and Kim Kelly called me into the steward's room, and up there on the big screen was the footage from the lift and me pressing the buttons. And in the meantime, I'd gone home, and I said to Nicole, I said, "What's he talking about?" And she said to me, she goes, "Yeah, you told us all to hurry up and you pressed the lift." So I'd completely forgotten about it, and obviously I had a few drinks, so it didn't register. But yeah, I thought it was quite funny to get him back, but he dobbed me in.
Because I think you guys have a very interesting relationship. Like many racing fans may call you guys the rival, a very serious rival, and there is a lot of classic scenes like created by you guys, like the shoes one, like on the last day of the Happy Valley for Douglas, and also like the ring bell, because like you guys ran the bell together.
Yeah.
So how would you describe the relationship between you and Douglas?
So when we were jockeys on the track, as far as having a friendship and things like that, we weren't friendly at all. He was focused on doing what he was doing, and he was a champion at the time, and I was the young guy coming through. And then, you know, we had the rivalry on the track when we're challenging each other. But as soon as I got to his level, then Moreira come along. So Douglas was sort of on the way out by then, and we both took over. So the actual rivalry with him on the track at that level didn't actually last that long. But we were sort of doing different things socially. We never sort of hung out and enjoyed a drink together or anything like that. And I wouldn't say that we'd do that either now. Like there have been a few occasions where we've been at an owner's dinner or something like that, and we get along well now because we're not competing against each other. But yeah, we never had a falling out. We never had any trouble with each other. Socially, we just did different things.
Yeah, but right now you're a jockey and Douglas is a trainer. So you guys are somehow a relationship or like a partnership. But maybe in few seasons later, then you might become his competitor again.
Rival again.
Yeah, maybe you have another career, like probably in training career. Then probably you guys will in another type of rivalry again.
Yeah, I think that the trainer dynamic is a little bit different to the jockey dynamic, because when you're a jockey, you're just trying to get on the best horse in every race. So you're competing for the same horse all the time. But when you're a trainer, you've got your stable of runners and he's got his stable of runners. So it's not quite as intense as when you're a jockey. But yeah, we'll see. Like I would never say no to anything. At the moment, it's not really what I'm focused on. I'm still focused on riding and riding as many winners as I can. It is Nicole's dream for me to be a trainer, and women can be quite persuasive. But but I would say at the moment it's probably a long shot that I'd be a trainer.
Yeah, because probably I guess you can't remember, because we had an interview like 5 years ago. At that time, you didn't show any interest of being a trainer. But as you said, your wife Nicole encouraged you to try, probably keep the possibility there.
Yeah, well, you know, in life, it ebbs and flows, and doors open and close at certain times. And 5 years ago, I was, 35. I'm still quite young, right? So you think you've still got a long time left in the saddle. But then as you get older, and then the injuries come along, and you think, oh, okay, well, physically, how much longer can I ride for? And if I do stop riding, what am I going to do? So then you start looking at, the next path to go down. And Nicole loves Hong Kong. I love Hong Kong. We love the culture. We love the racing. We love the city and the people. We've always felt at home here. It doesn't feel like we're away from home. We feel like we're at home here. So both our kids were born here. They're happy and comfortable in school. So for her, it seems very convenient for me to become a trainer.
Okay, so you have mentioned also the injury. I remember there is a very serious fall back to, I remember 2021 or 22, Lucky Patch in the HKIR. So at that time, do you start to have a blink of second to think about, oh, it's time for me to take some rest, step back, and maybe trying to think about a new career, like trainer's career?
At that time, no. But what that fall done was that's what's upset my hip. I've had trouble with my hip ever since. The impact from that fall and the way I fell and the way I landed is what's caused the problem that I have now. But at that time, I was 16 winners in front of Joe. I had a really good start to the season, and I had a lot of momentum. And then when I come back, I was 16 winners behind him. So my focus was just trying to re-establish myself and see if I could run him back down and in the premiership, which I happened to do. Went to the last day, and I happened to win it on the last day. But at that time, there was no thought about being a trainer or anything like that. It was just, let's get back in the saddle, let's start riding winners, let's do what I'm good at, and get back out there.
But after the fall in this year, does it change you a little bit? Like, okay, so this is the last time. Probably no. Probably I won't take the risk again.
Well, let's be honest. Every time I get on a horse, I'm taking a risk. You know, every day of my life, I'm putting, you know, my safety and my life on the line. You know, whether it's track work, a barrier trial, or a race. But I don't think about that. You know, I love the adrenaline. I love jumping out the gates. I love the competition. I love being in amongst all the horses. I love taking those runs. I like winning races. I like the adrenaline and the buzz and the thrill that comes with all of that. Now, if I'm not riding anymore, how am I going to satisfy that rush? You know, maybe training horses gives you a rush. Maybe jump out of a plane. Maybe ride a motorbike. You know, I don't know, but I've got to try and find something to fill that hole for sure. But no, at the moment, I still love riding horses. I still love competing. I love winning races. So let's play on for now.
Yeah, because we had an interview with Angus Strong before, and in that particular incident, he said when he went into the ambulance, and he was thinking, no, I'm not riding anymore. It's too painful. He couldn't even speak at that time. But like after a day, when he wake up and okay, yeah, I'm still going back. Yeah. I'm still going back on the saddle.
And I think that's the life of a jockey, right? Like I wasn't thinking that at all when I was on the track. I was thinking, all right, what's wrong? How long am I going to be out? When I was in the ambulance, I rang David Hayes and I said, how long until KE Rising races again? So I was trying to do the math in my head. And I was talking to the doctors at the hospital, I've got to be back on this day. And they're like, we don't think you can be back by then. I said, well, I'm going to be back by then. But as it turns out, I needed a little bit longer. But no, I sort of start calculating my return date, not anything else. But I did speak to Angus and he was a bit shaken up at the time, as you say. But you know, time heals most wounds, and you know, with time, he's back out there and he's doing well again.
You seem to be dealing with this incident very good, but is this? Do you think this is your experience? Because of your experience, you know that I can come back stronger, or is it just your personality? You love the adrenaline or something?
I think it's my personality. You know, it's not that I'm not trying to prove anyone wrong or anything like that. I just do what I want to do, and what I wanted to do was to get back on a horse and get back in a race and keep going. So there was no thoughts whatsoever of doing anything else at that time.
Yeah, because we always think that you have a champion mentality, but sometimes for like racing fans or maybe netizens, they could be really mean. Like they always criticizing you, like why you just pulling the horses, checking their feet if they are okay. So actually, what would be the main concern for you, like pulling the horses within the races?
Well, you've got to be concerned about the animal. You know, if they've got a problem and they're about to break a leg, the last thing we want to see, as you see in Hong Kong recently this season, we've had a lot of horses break legs and fall. It's dangerous for the horse, it's dangerous for me, it's dangerous for everyone else around. So safety's got to come first. If the horse doesn't feel right, you know, they not only might they be about to break a leg, they could be having heart arrhythmia, they could be about to have a heart attack, they could be bleeding. They start wobbling, they don't feel right, you know, they're under a lot of pressure here. The racing season goes for longer now, so they've got to race more. They're barrier trialling more than they used to trial for. So they're getting put under a lot more pressure than what they used to get put under. And some of these horses can't handle the pressure. Some days they go out there and, you know, something could be brewing that that people haven't been able to identify. And as you've seen with Seasons Wit recently, you know, they just snap legs and down they go. So, you know, people have got to understand that, you know, horses sometimes have issues and we don't want to see them break a leg. We don't want to see them on the track. And it's easier just, if they're not responding and they're not performing well, look after the horse, and then the horse is fine. It can get checked over. If it needs some surgery or something like that, or it needs some time off, then that horse gets to live and race another day. But if there's something wrong with it and you keep pushing it, snaps its leg, the horse is dead.
Yeah, because not only within the race, but also before the race, like you guys may somehow like discover something not very good for the horse. Like I think one of the most controversial incident this season will be the stalls. Like before, like he heading to the gate, and you feel something not good for him, and then you just told to the vet, and then afterwards, like many racing fans think that it's not reasonable to like scratch from the race before like having some very
Vet checks
or detail checks. But like after the race, the vet proves you right, because there is really some injuries for the horse, right? The check before the
there
race.
is, but even if there was no injury, the jockey always has the right to withdraw the horse. If the horse doesn't feel right, even if the vet can't find anything at the time, it's better to err on the side of caution. Because if you run the horse and it breaks a leg, everyone's safety is at risk. So you should always err on the side of caution, and then that horse, as I said, can live and race another day. And, the other thing as well, what these punters are forgetting is that if the horse does have an issue, if it is sore, it's not going to perform at its best. Mm-hmm. So in that instance, Stoltz was favourite. There was a lot of money invested on him. So if that horse runs, he had a fracture in his shoulder, he breaks his shoulder and he falls, the punters do their money. So they've lost their money. So by scratching the horse, they actually get their money back. So they should be happy.
Yeah, I always agree with that. But as I said, racing fans can be very mean. So
it's not just racing fans; it's everyone. It's in
people,
every sport. It's all over
Just
the world.
people being very mean.
yeah, so
And, if you worry about what other people say, you're never going to live a happy life. People are entitled to their opinion. They can say what they want. I don't care what they say. It doesn't worry me. They're keyboard warriors. If they want to waste their time and energy typing something up and posting a comment about me, well, that's great. That means they care about me. So it's like a badge of honour. People care about me.
So
was there any occasion that after you pull up the horse and then there are no any observation post veterinary, and then the connection was upset about you? Was there any such occasion?
Well, I don't get to see the connections afterwards. The owners might be sitting up at a table and they're not really in tune with what's going on. But, there are times where there might only be a minor issue with the horse, and in a few days' time it might be okay. But as I said, if the horse is feeling something and it's not right, it's not going to perform at its best. So you're better off, for everyone's sake, looking after the horse, and then it can get checked over properly and go again another day.
So you have your own specific ways to digest or to deal with those critiques or mean comments, right?
Oh yeah, just don't worry about them. Well, who cares? I'm not worried about it.
it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Because many people would like to if they are like an artist, they'll try to Google their name and see if there are any mean comments towards him or her, or someone praising him or her. Okay, so I can imagine like Zach in his home, like Googling, okay, Zach Burton, and there's so many mean comments towards you, and Zach, damn it,
Whatever.
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, firstly, I don't Google myself. So I don't go looking for comments like that. So that doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, I just look at the results that I've managed to achieve. If people are unhappy with how I'm going, imagine how unhappy they are with everyone else. I've ridden more winners than any other jockey in Hong Kong. I've won more Group 1s, more races, got the best strike rate, all those sorts of things. So if they're not happy with what I'm doing, they must be really unhappy with everyone else.
So definitely the result and the achievement speaks it all, right?
Well, I think as a sportsman or anyone in life, you need to believe in yourself. You can't listen to the outside noise. If you're going to be dictated to by other people, and they're not in my shoes, they don't walk my life. They don't actually quite understand. I call them uneducated people because that's what they are. They're not living my life. They're not in my shoes. They're not living it day to day. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And if they were good enough to do what I'm doing, well, they would be doing it, but they're not.
So we discussed about your future or some possibilities, like becoming a trainer, maybe, in short period of time, not quite, I think. So how about your children? Because both of them are born in Hong Kong, and do you have any like expectations or hopes on them, or how will you because like in Asian countries, like the parents probably they has some difficult times when they're young, so they never wanted their children to go through this, and becoming a jockey is certainly very tough path
Task, yeah.
for them to follow. So what do you think?
Well, it is, but I also think in life you need to be competitive as well. So, for instance, when I come home from the races, my kids are like, "Oh, how many winners?" If it's a Wednesday night and they might be in bed or whatever else, how many winners did you have the night before and things like that. And if I haven't had a winner, they're very sad, you know. So when we went to a sports carnival, we're driving to the sports carnival, and they're like, "Oh, our teachers said, you know, as long as you enjoy it and have a good day, you know, winning is not everything." And I was like, winning is everything. Like every race meeting, you're saying to me, "You've got to win, you've got to win, you've got to win." I said, "I'm coming to watch you, you've got to win." So you know, the pressure is on them to do well, and I push them to be as well as they can. But do I want Cash to be a jockey? No, I don't. You know, I'd rather him be a football player or a builder. You know, he can go and do something else, because it's a dangerous life. The one that we live is really, really dangerous. And if I can get him away from that, then I will.
Mm-hmm. Because talking about dangerous, because we have a very long season in Hong Kong, and also the barrier trials is also way more frequent than I think 2 or 3 years ago. Is there any method to release your pressure from not only the mental pressure but also the physical pressure of, you know, going up to barrier trials, and even maybe you have to go to the Guangzhou, the Chonghua, right?
Well, that's one of the reasons that I don't go to Chongfa, is because the extra workload it's just too much for my body at my age with the injuries I've got, and it's people forget it's a 3-hour trip up there. Mm-hmm. You know, you got 2 or 3 hours of barrier trials. It's a 3-hour trip back. You know, it's 9 hours out of the day, and when you're pushing yourself to ride those extra trials, your body isn't getting the rest that it needs. You can't go to the physio. You can't get a massage, you can't take it easy, you're continually pushing your body over and over and over again, and then you can't recover because you're sitting in a car coming back. And there are some weeks where, you know, we've got Chongfa Monday, Sha Tin Tuesday, Happy Valley Wednesday, Sha Tin Thursday, Chongfa Friday, you know, Sha Tin again Saturday. So it's like it never ends, and it never used to be like that. And it's a little bit easier when you're younger, but as you get older, it's harder on the body. So I think the owners and trainers want me to be at my best on a race day. And for me to be at my best on a race day, I can't keep going to Chongfa for barrier trials. I need to stay down here, give my body a rest, do my form properly, treat my body like a temple, you know, get massage, get physio, personal training, all those things that I need to do to be at my best on a race day. So I want to be well rested. I want to be feeling good. I want to be as pain-free as I can be. I want to have done as much form as I can do. And I can't be wasting 9 hours twice a week going to Chongfa for barrier trials. So everyone's different. Some jockeys need to go up there because they're looking for more opportunities. But that's the way I look at it. And that's one of the main reasons I don't go up there.
Is there any routines post-race or when it's an off day? Is there any routine to cool down your body or give the pain away?
Yeah, there are. So I have some game-ready boots at home, which are basically, I've got the long ones that come up to my hip. And you have the machine that you put the ice and the water in, and the boots, they have compression as well. So they run the ice-cold water through and they compress the legs. So that's one of the reasons the twilight meetings is so hard, because it's so late at night. But if we finish at 6 o'clock, I've got time to go home. I put the boots on, I ice my legs, I cool down. That's part of the recovery as well. So there's that. The Jockey Club are just about to renovate the jockey room at Sha Tin. So they're going to put plunge pools in there. They're going to have infrared saunas, dry saunas, wet saunas. They're going to have, and we've got the physio department there as well. So we've got a lot of things on hand to help us recover. But if you're spending 9 hours going to Chongfa, you can't utilise that.
Yeah, as you said, this day after day, routine work. Have you ever lost some momentum between those works, especially if things were not going smooth, and what I'm doing here?
Oh, sure. There have been a few times in Hong Kong where it's been really hard, you know, especially when I first started. And then, you know, you have the falls and the injuries and you lose a little bit of momentum. And sometimes new jockeys come in and they're the flavour of the month and everyone wants to go with them and you've got to work your way back in. So it ebbs and flows. And then there might be times where you've got some nice new young PPGs coming through. So you've got a nice group of horses to work with that can win a few races. And then other times you don't have anything. So every season's different. Every week is different. Every month is different. It ebbs and flows. As you see with the trainers, sometimes the trainers are up there and sometimes the trainers are down there. So if you're aligned to one stable, when he goes well, you go well. When they go bad, you go bad. And then when they go bad, you get sacked. So it's always the jockey's fault. So then you've got to try and get support somewhere else. So I've found over my journey, my period of time here, is that I don't commit too much to one stable. I try and spread myself around everywhere. And ultimately, at the end of the day, for me, it doesn't matter who trains a horse, who owns it. I just want to ride the best horse I can in every race. If I think that horse can win that race, I want to ride that horse. And it doesn't matter who's connected to it. If I think that horse is a better ride, then I want to ride that one. And by doing that, then you're not stuck to one trainer. So I can spread myself around, and then you're not going to have the runs of highs and then the lows of lows. It's going to be more even.
So throughout the journey, I'm sure you have met up with very much amazing people, and there may be some people who helps you a lot in the career. So anyone you would like to put some gratitude or like you appreciate a lot, like throughout the whole journey in your riding careers?
There have been so many people that have helped me along the way at different stages as well, because when you're in Australia, you have the people there in those areas that help you, and then you come to Hong Kong and you've got people that help you a little bit more here. But the one person that's helped me the most is certainly Nicole. Like, she came along at the right time in my life, in my career, and she helped stabilise things, because obviously when you're younger, and especially being guys, especially having a lot of success and doing well, you get a lot of friends and a lot of temptation and, you know, partying and all those sorts of things. And then, you know, she comes along and she's level and steady and focused on the career and the path and the journey and doing the right thing and being successful and all that sort of stuff. So she sort of managed me through the period of time and sort of helped me sort of build the foundation to success. And you know, she's done a great job of doing that.
咁今日我哋都好開心啦，請到潘頓上嚟同我哋傾偈，咁啊時間都差唔多啦，咁我哋都祝潘頓嚟緊呢一個生涯啦，即係新一季當然要順利啦，嚟緊整個生涯都要順利啦。係啊，
或者即係希望都繼續有可能唔同嘅發展啊咁樣，但係都係越做越好咁樣咯。
So thank you, Zach. We wish you a good season. Next season or even
the coming careers.
The training career, we don't know.
Who knows how long I'm going to be in Hong Kong.
So thank you, Zach. 我哋下次再見，拜拜。